Hi, so in this video I want to talk about this one particular dream that I had. Because I feel this dream had an interesting theme to it, and it's not exactly one of the most surreal dreams I've had, nor is it particularly um, very strange. It almost felt like a one of those dreams where it just feels everything feels normal, but yet there is something about this dream which I found was pretty interesting. So the way this dream starts is well, the way I got to it, there were a few other things, but I remember I'd written it down, but I feel it doesn't relate that much to the rest of it, and I don't even remember much of it. So I'm going to start with the point where I felt it's got interesting. It's when I was walking down some kind of it was some kind of a sidewalk, and I was just walking down the street, and I came across this building, and this was almost like dusk time, so it was getting dark, but it wasn't entirely dark. So I come across this building, and I went inside the building. I remember before this I was speaking on the phone with someone, but that wasn't really that relevant to the rest of the dream. So I went inside this building, and I took the stairs up, and I noticed that this was from the outside. This building looked like it looked like just like any other building where a lot of people lived, or it just looked normal. But as I went inside it, I realized this was a building that was under construction, but for some reason the construction of this building had stopped, so it had become one of these just ghost type of buildings, which was where there was no one else living there, and no one had been inside this building for a long time. So I went up the stairs, and after a while I noticed that inside there was no electricity, and it was like completely dark. And by the time this part came up in the dream, it was dark outside. um, I'm inside this building, and I'm still around the staircase. And I remember I looked down one of the staircases, and there was a stairwell between, in the middle of the staircase. And I looked down, and um, it was a very long way down. For some reason, it felt, even though I hadn't really gone up that many floors. Now when I looked down, there was way too many floors down below where I was standing, and it just had this crazy feeling to it, and it was completely open, like anyone could. There was next to the staircase there were no railings, and it was just like this completely exposed staircase which did not have anything else on it, and it was just the concrete. So I looked down one of these, and after that I went to I feel if I remember correctly, I was in the lobby, and I walked around the lobby for a while, and eventually I managed to get down with one of these staircases, and this is where the dream becomes kind of I don't remember it that much, but it was a very interesting dream because I've during this dream I had this is one of those dreams where I had there was more of a sense to it than an actual narrative to it, because I felt this weird sense of isolation during this dream, as though inside this building was an entirely separate world as it relates to the outside of the building. Like these were two entirely different worlds. And when I was in there, inside this building, I got this very how do I explain this? This strange sense of isolation came on, and I felt that somehow this is now um, like somehow this had now become my reality, like being inside this ghost building or whatever it was. So eventually I managed to get into some other room. Now in this room there was electricity, so I turned it on, and I found that there was another person in here. And and with him I don't know, I guess we talked about something for a couple of minutes, and then we managed to find some other corridors, and eventually we both managed to get out of it. So I guess this was, I don't know, this is not necessarily the most interesting video, but I feel that I really wanted to talk about this dream because it had a very unique feeling to it. So, and it had a different kind of look to it, because while I was inside this building, it was almost like the gray concrete, which was everywhere around me because this building was incomplete. Plus, there was this almost like this pitch darkness that was visible everywhere. So I feel it was an interesting dream in that way. And so yeah, maybe if I make another video that somehow relates to this topic, I'll probably expand more on this one. But right now, for just for the sake of making this video, I just got it. I just managed to talk about it in a more brief sense. So well, yeah, I guess that's about it for this dream. And in a future video, if, like I said, if it somehow relates to it, I'll expand more on this. So yeah, that's it for this video. And for the next few videos, it's going to be these same type of videos that I'm going to continue with. And so yeah, that's it for this video, and I'll see you next time.